Welcome to Bomb Ashes, and today it's June. And guess what June is? Pride, or it was. But this is going to be the anti-Pride episode, where we're going to go against the grain and talk about what's going on in the game industry. Of a lot of companies are sort of, dropping Pride, and this has been a big thing, not just with video game companies, but like most companies in general. But we're gonna first start with the video game companies because this is very interesting. First off, we're gonna start off with the first article I found. I thought that was funny. It says, "No gain, no pay. The RuneScape community is absolutely mauling Jagex new CEO over his decision to cancel new Pride Month events." And that's perfectly fine with the CEO. That it's his company. In effect, most companies were gay for pay in some sort of way. God, I can't believe I made that joke. Anyways, so I was reading the article and it said, and this is one of the quotations that I'm like, "You absolute cows," wrote another player on X. "You dialed back Pride content because you're scared of mean tweets from alt-right losers online. All right, pretend to be an ally. No one's falling for this." They're a multi-million-dollar corporation, and their only deal is to make money. Like they have no morals. Their morals just change with the time. If this was the 1950s, they'd be dropping the F bomb more than Melanie Mac. Like they'd be in a race with her to drop that F bomb. Just I don't incriminate Melanie because yeah. At the end of the day, that's what they do. They have no morals. And I think they do or to force them into sort of having morals, it's not going to work because they're just going to flip it in a switch. At the end of the day, if players want to run their own Pride events, like community driven in MMOs, I actually nothing against that. I mean, especially like I know WoW used to do that, Final Fantasy 14 does that, and so there's like David an article says elsewhere some players are simply hosting their own community run privates with some providing popular enough, where it says that it says, with some proving popular enough that the game struggled to render all the attendees. And it shows it was linked to a Twitter picture of of someone, playing it. But like I said, I don't, if you want to do your community run Pride event, I don't think against the company shutting it down because it's community driven event. That I really can't say anything against. But what I don't like is how the companies are sort of using events like Pride and all these social political events as sort of skin suits to make money for themselves. And plus, I think it would be kind of cruddy to shut down a sort of community driven event like that. That's just my opinion. I think that would be bad luck on a corporation. But either way, and here's the thing I think also what this, while yes, it was probably packed and maybe hard enough for it to render. I think each server has sort of, especially in online games where it's like multi-server, each sort of server has its own culture and community to speak. When it comes to sort of the people and who's on it and what they do more. Like Final Fantasy 14, I know Gilgamesh on Aether was the home world, was for a long time. I don't know how true it is, but it was a home world where you go for raids and stuff if you want to do all that hardcore content. And then if you want to do ERP or RP, it was, I forgot what it was, but it was another server on another data center. And then with WoW also, you had certain ones that were more PvP oriented, like Proudmoore was more LGBT oriented server, and this is going back a long time, so I don't know how true it is, if it's still true, but it had like more of that sort of populace. So while that might be a screenshot where it essentially renders the whole, a whole community of people, it might not represent the whole wider community. It might just be, oh, that server or those like now MMOs have where you could go essentially party up with the character and go to their server. I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is a little more complex, but so I'm not sure if that speaks to the whole wider community. And plus, let's be real, most of the pride stuff, and this is as a gay person, I try not to bring up my sexuality in this because it's a gay gaming podcast, not me talking about myself, but most of the pride stuff is god fucking ugly. Like, only one game that really did it right was Guild Wars 2 with the wings, with sort of Rainbow Phoenix wings, which was like red, blue, and green, which really worked. But other games don't make it work. It's just god awful ugly. Oh shit, Pride Month's here. We gotta do something. And that's so the vibe it gave off. Continue. It says this is an article by the same company, by the same site. I think it was the Gamer. I could be wrong. It says games and studios are being canceled because of content that is perceived to be woke or representative. New RuneScape CEO report said an internal meaning explaining decision to stop or shrink the MMO Pride events. If they want to do a community event, I really have no problem. That shouldn't be something that is like a problem because it's a community driven event. And those happen a lot. But I think forcing a company to essentially run a Pride event is wrong. Here's also the issue. I think companies are waking up to the fact that gamers, the ones who pay the bills, are the ones who are pulling out their wallet. I think a lot of, and this is what's been going on with Game Game 2 is, and why essentially the people are mad at people like Rums is they rallied a lot of the gaming community to essentially vote with their wallets, because that's really what matters to the company at the end of the day. That's why they were adopting all these socio-political ideologies, because they thought, hey, this is gonna make us money, We're gonna be rolling the dough, we're gonna be like Scrooge McDuck in our swimming pool, we're gonna have so many yachts that will put Bobby Kotick to shame. But at the end of the day, it only alienated people more. Failures like Dragon Age Veilguard, Dustborn, and all those must have spooked the company. And also the fact that these sort of modern era progressive games have failed. I mean, even before Trump's election, because I know a lot of people are going to say, oh yeah, it's Trump's election. I think that's sort of part of it, but we're missing the part before it, because the sort of tide has been turning, um, because Disney had to rewrite Inside Out 2 to make, Riley less gay and make it less of a Tumblr fan fiction. Like, that was literally an order from Disney, and people were bitching online about it. So, I think the companies, once, they started to get the idea of, hey, shit's changing, but because, Disney sort of pivoted with Inside Out 2, but I think once Trump got elected, especially when he got the popular vote too, I think that cemented the idea, hey, this ain't profitable anymore, and the winds are changing. I think that's why a lot of these types are mad at Trump, is because at the end of the day, his win sort of cemented the fact that this sort of era is over. I mean, especially if you won a popular vote. I mean, good. And plus, to add to that, most of the big blue states like California and New York were only held out by sort of their city counterparts. Like Brooklyn, like for New York would be, I would say, sort of like the five boroughs and all that were really blue and stuff. So those were sort of the holdouts that made them more blue. But, that's it. So many companies are essentially pulling back on Pride. in general. And this ain't just a video gaming thing. This is a big, broader picture. Because Starbucks doesn't have a Pride logo. EA, PlayStation, Visa. Like, it's already the 16,000 recording this episode. And most of those companies would already have a freaking rainbow logo ready to go. Which, you know what? I'll be honest. Again, I am glad. I am glad that these companies don't have it. Because it's very hollow. This is like 2020, 22. It's like, oh my, it's not 2000s, not the early to late 2000s, early 2010s where it's stunning and brave. No, now it's just boring and tired. Now, and the companies only do this is for money. Like what's Visa gonna be like? Oh, welcome to Visa. We love all our customers of all communities, all races, all colors, especially those who don't know how to manage money. Pride your hashtag love. I'm getting deep into it with the snarkiness, but it's very tiring, and it's like I'm glad it's gone. But I'm probably the unpopular one here, which for me. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is the new norm where most companies aren't really gonna, sort of give two farts about pride. That's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Um, you know, happy anti-pride. Let's gonna. You know what I should just do when I post this on Twitter? I'm gonna put hashtag anti-pride as sort of the for hashtag. But anyways, thank you for listening. Have a good one. Take care. Stay healthy. Stay hydrated. And stay warm. Bye bye.